Welcome to the next episode of the Next Question Please podcast. All right. We got a special guest in the building, the Nigerian Prince. Let's go. But we all kings here. You feel me?
Yep.
Let's get it.
Willie P also sat in again today.
Of course.
All right.
And I'm Sai.
I'm Wolfie.
I'm Midas Mill. Let's get it. What's going on, boys? So first of all, we got to get into that poll we took, right?
We appreciate everybody who voted,
Feedback was fantastic.
who followed us on Instagram. We also appreciate you guys. If you haven't followed us on Instagram, well,
Don't be a
follow
bitch.
us on Instagram.
The Nigerian princess.
That's how you get followers
Yeah,
right there. You just got to call them out.
hell.
All right. So overwhelmingly, for all of us, we had no. Whoa.
Well, let's discuss the question first
Yeah.
for the people who have not watched the last episode
Exactly.
or that episode of episode 2.
So the question we asked from the poll last time was, is indecisiveness emasculating? So we had an overwhelming amount of women
And
say
even men.
no. Yes.
Even men too.
So it was overwhelmingly like 70-80% of women and men said no, it's not emasculating.
One thing I found out about mine, though, is that more men said yes than women. The men were harder on themselves than the women were. The women are like, no, I don't find it that way at all.
See, well, I think the reason that so many men said yes rather than the whopping one woman that we had say yes.
True. Well, I had also one say yes.
Yeah. Okay,
I had a couple.
women say yes?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I had one. I mean, out of the 5 yeses, one was a girl in the restaurant.
So we had a total of what, 65, 70 votes?
I had 15.
Yes, I had
So,
about
yeah.
45. So I think so many men said yes because traditionally that's what we've been conditioned to think, you know? So it's like a lot of men feel like they have to be the
Alpha.
bread getters, the decision makers. They have to fix this, or they have to open that, or they have to do this, or they have to do that. So it's like that's already subconsciously in our minds, you know, as like, okay, I have to be decisive because that's what being a man is. That's what we feel like being a man is, right? And then so I was asking the women because so many women had said no, and I was also one of the men that said no. And I was wondering like where's the disparage between those two things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the women that I did talk to, one older lady, she's a doctor, you know, accomplished. She was saying that she doesn't think it shows masculinity, but it shows immaturity, right? And so I continued to ask her the question. I was like, okay, well, do you think that it's a natural progression for men to become more decisive over time, you know, as like a traditional sense, like the more you become a man, then naturally you're going to become more decisive because that's what it takes to be a man, right? So that's what I was leaning towards. But then she responded with, well, people in general, not just men, tend to become more decisive the more they experience, the more they learn, the more interactions they have. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so for you guys who said yes, it was emasculating, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, so first of all, before like we move on, for dumbasses like me, what they mean by emasculating is like does it make you less of a man if you're indecisive? Because like first time I heard the question, I was like, what? And then like
Maybe that's why a lot of people didn't
Vote?
vote. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
they didn't
Maybe.
understand it.
Yeah, I guess fair enough.
Triple digit IQ memes.
Of course.
Of course.
I want to start off an Instagram story and be like, does indecisiveness
make you less of a man.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Maybe-
maybe
maybe
have
that-
to use being indecisive, just saying being less confident.
Yeah. Which that changes the game
Mhm.
because like it makes sense when you reword it. Does less confidence make you less of a man?
I mean, to be honest, when you sent me that question right away to put on Instagram,
Ooh.
I'm like,
See, but
what?
I would agree with that one though.
Exactly. I would
Is being
100%
less
agree.
confident?
Makes you less of a man.
Man.
I would definitely agree with that one.
If you reword it, see that's a different question now.
Why are men expected to be like
That's what I've been saying.
decisive?
Make it normal for women to make the first
See,
move.
Well, but that's why I agree with
What I
I
definitely learned from this.
Bumble has the right idea.
You know what? Absolutely. Okay, but the one thing about Bumble though, and I've realized and that's why I deleted it, women don't make the first move.
They do, but
that's a special.
That's a different story. But anyway,
because like every time I've gotten a match on Bumble, they don't respond, and then it just expires because they don't answer first.
I think most people get Bumble mixed up with Tinder.
Well, right.
So like when they match with you, they expect you to like say hi first, but then the way it works on Bumble is they have to say
women have a huge advantage on dating apps. Doesn't matter what
absolutely.
App. They get like 800 matches. How much time are they gonna make for you?
I mean, we have people like Will that just open up the app and go. So like, of course, we will get.
Most dudes go.
I got a lot.
You get a pass.
They do the run.
That's why.
The marathon run. But anyways, what I learned from asking all these questions is we're definitely in a more progressive area, or we know more progressive people. So that's where we're going towards.
You're calling grand folks progressive.
Yeah, that's kind of ironic.
What's next?
Hell freezes over.
No, but like our friends and all that stuff. I feel like
true.
Their values are more progressive than the average.
I think women are definitely getting more independent.
Well, going back to the poll, another person I asked, she said yes, like that indecisiveness is emasculating when it comes to attractiveness. So she finds guys less attractive when they're not as decisive as other guys.
Well, yeah, and I think that goes for like both like genders, because you see that thing where you're like, what do you want to eat? They're like, I don't know. I don't think it's cute. Like,
well, that's when you gotta be like, we're going here now. Deal with it.
And then she says,
"Male for the win."
And then she's like, I don't want to eat that. But then, what do you want to eat? I don't know. I don't think it's cute.
No. That's why I saw a life hack, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna call the girls out and the guys technically. If she says I don't know, then you're just like, think about it a little bit. Act as if you're thinking about a place to go, and then you go, okay, guess where we're going. And the first place she says, that's where you go.
Oh shit!
That's way too much work.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's way too much work to do, especially if I'm hungry. I'm not taking the time to play that game with you. You're not fine.
I mean, pretty much the old reliable is just McDonald's, isn't it?
Honestly,
ew. What?
Yeah, ew.
Like there's Chick-fil-A.
Come on.
There's Popeyes. There's
but
so you're willing to spend like $10 on like a sandwich rather than like $2 on a sandwich.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, but like McDonald's is
I was just saying
chicken sandwich.
I saw a pattern with you.
So Chick-fil-A, Popeyes. He was like, I'm starting to see a pattern.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I am 100% with them. Oh.
I mean, Popeyes is way better than Chick-fil-A.
I've never had Popeyes.
When I was in Washington, D.C. last year, I did.
Popeyes is different.
Yeah.
It really does.
When I go back.
Their fries.
Go to Popeyes.
They have the second best fries.
Behind Chuck's.
Of any. Yeah. Oh, no, behind Rally's.
Well, that's the same thing, Chuck's Rally's.
Yeah. But why is it that chain restaurants in America suck compared to like...
Mom and Pops?
No, compared to like their... franchises outside of the US. Like if you've had and I've heard that KFC in like Jamaica is bomb. Like it's a whole lot nicer. Like it's
the chains outside of the United States are better than the stores in the United States.
I know 100% why. It's because the majority of people here cannot handle like
spice.
Good seasonings. Chicken or like beef or whatever.
I was gonna say that people working in fast food restaurants here don't give a shit.
Yeah, that too.
Fair enough.
That's actually more true.
Like no one wants to work in a fast food restaurant in America. That's just the reality of it.
True.
Yeah.
It just ends up that way.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
You know what? I honestly cannot complain. Can a little bit, but who's gonna listen? But I guess you're on the podcast, so here we are. So Thursday. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thursday, I went back home for the Easter break or break, depending on your religious domination. Went back to spend time with my family, but as I went through a town that I have to go through to get back to my hometown, been talking to this gal, and I'm like, do you want to go to dinner? She's been talking up this restaurant where she lives, and I'm like, all right, if you're going to break it up, this better slap. So I'm like, let's go there then. She's like, okay. Loves this place, right? Pick her up at her house. She hops in the truck and she's like, "Oh man, you missed dad by like 3 minutes." I'm like, "Dang it, I really want to meet your dad." Just because, get on the good side, meet the parents. Like if anything does further progress from whatever.
Ooh, you're getting serious.
I mean, she's met my parents and my great aunt, and my cat.
Where's the IV? The wedding invitation.
Come on.
I hear bells. Do you hear bells?
Thanks, mother. Literally, when I was telling my mom about this gal, she's like, "You better start saving money." I'm like, "For what?" She's like, "The ring." And I'm like, then my dad's just like, "Can they date first?" I'm like, "Thank God my dad has my back."
Yeah, your dad knows.
Yeah, my dad has my back.
Why is your mom so adamant about you getting married?
I don't know. She wants grandkids. I swear to God.
Yeah, my parents do not want grandkids.
No,
so
my mom wants
I
a
bet-
grandkid so badly. It's unreal. She just has baby fevers. I don't know. Who knows?
for whatever reason.
Yeah, I guess it's mother.
Mom, if you're watching this, you're not getting grandkids from me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My mom, if you're watching this, I'm not hiding your grandkids from you. She threatened me like that too. She's like, "You better not be hiding my grandkids from me." I'm like, "I don't even have kids, mother."
Mom, we're not there yet. Just letting you know, we're not there
Mom,
yet.
I'm too poor for kids. Relax.
Will's mother will make sure he doesn't have kids because we don't want any of them to turn out like Will.
At least I'm not
Told you.
5'4".
Truth. Anyways, so I'm like, "Oh crap! I really wanted to meet your dad." Get to the restaurant, whatnot. We're eating, and all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, here comes my dad and mom." And you look out the window, and here comes a jacked up Ford F-250, in the middle of North Dakota,
Of course.
black rims. And I'm like, "Oh no, he already has a bigger truck than I do."
Damn.
Yeah.
Is that emasculating?
And she goes, "I don't know where mom and dad are going." He said $5, and just the way I parked in the parking lot. He parks next to me and he has no idea what my truck looks like. Just where I park, he parks next to me, and they walk in. She's like, "They wouldn't do that." I'm like, $5, they do it. One more 5 minutes later, in walks her dad from the bar, because it's a restaurant at a bar. In walks her dad. So as Will made the joke earlier, I'm 5'4". She did not tell
3,
me.
2, 1.
Except it's not a joke.
She did not tell me her dad is 6'4" and looks like the juggernaut.
Rip.
Like he is ripped. A tank.
Rip you.
Bulldozer, D13 bulldozer and everything. Just
Are you into her or her dad?
Rip Tyler Wolf.
That
He had a
truck's-
That
long
truck really
life.
turning you on, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the truck turned me on. I mean, shit.
Rip
Have you
Tyler
seen
Wolf.
trucks?
He had a long life for someone like
Tyler
him.
likes to get emasculated.
And so I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll be able to meet her dad, right?" And the drive from Grand Forks to this town is 3.5 hours. So that's all I'm thinking about is how am I going to make this first impression, right? And I figured out, just luckily me being an extrovert, all I have to do in the beginning is shake his hand and go, "Hi," or "Howdy," depends on whatever hit me at the time. "I'm Tyler Wolf. Nice to meet you." And I'm very confident in my handshakes. They're nice and firm, which shows confidence, which I hear some dads like, I don't know. So
Are you
far,
nice and firm with the ladies?
I'm saying.
Fucking Sims.
True. And so he walks up to the table and he just and I'm trying to stare into his soul, right? Kind of asserting dominance and not let him know that I'm a chicken when it can come to tall people. I'm not too worried. My dad is 6'1", but still, I'll learn. You get a little nervous when meeting a father.
True.
I mean, fair enough.
Just 6'4".
Well, yeah, and I'm
Perhaps.
5'4", a full foot shorter than the man.
Perhaps.
Indeed.
You didn't even hear when I said it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Indeed to you too, sir.
Thank you.
And so walks to the table and just looks directly at the girl, has a 30-second conversation with her, and walks off. Does not make eye contact with me. Nothing. I don't even get to make that first impression.
Damn.
Okay, and so we'll break it up a little bit. So what would y'all have done in that situation, right? Her dad comes to the table, doesn't speak to you at all. Are you initiating that? Are you waiting for him to look at you? What are you doing?
I mean, because
Well-
he didn't look at me either. So
Well,
that's a hard part.
personally, I'm at the table. Her dad walks up. I say hello straight up. Once he gets to the table, I won't even let him talk to her
Until you say hello.
Yeah, I'd just be
Well-
stand and be like, "Good evening, sir. I'm Nigerian Prince."
Yeah.
Well, usually what you're supposed to do is like you should probably get up,
Yeah.
and then you should obviously do the handshake or whatever.
Or at least like get up and good evening, sir.
Yeah.
And then, well, courtesy demands you wait for him to like give you the hand and then you shake his
Obviously, if he doesn't respond properly, then
hand. Then you know he has a problem with you.
yeah.
Fair enough.
But right now, we're just working based on assumptions that he has a problem with us.
I'm not sure why. Actually, I know why.
We're going.
Anyway, so he leaves, and luckily at the time I was like, not phased, still trying to get over the fact that he's 6'4" and looks like the juggernaut, right? Like, still kind of baffled by that. I mean, that's a lot to take in just in itself. I mean,
That's what she said.
I bet her mom took a lot from him.
Kale's got jokes.
Nigerian prince strikes again. And so I'm sort of just enjoying my time with her because she's just a wonderful human being, and it didn't even faze me. I get
Tell
that
me you caught feelings without telling me. Now I'm playing.
he's got a point. He's got a point. Man's got a point. So, anyways, like I didn't even think about it. Her and I drove around for a while. Went back to her place. I met her dogs, her sister. They're renovating their basement, and so showed me the work on the basement because, yeah, I mean, why not? Really cool. And hung around for a little while, and then I went home because I had another hour drive, and it was getting dark, and moose and deer and all that fun stuff I got to watch out for. So I left, didn't even think about it. Got on the phone with an old high school buddy, and he goes, "Man, you're not doing good with dads. Your track record isn't good. You're 0 for 2 right now." My last girlfriend's dad hated me.
Why?
That I don't know. Then that's what, and I tried. I actually did my first impression, shaking hands. I'm Tyler Wolf, and I think the problem was high school. Right? I was in high school. I was a senior in high school. She was a sophomore. We're starting when I was a junior, and she was a freshman. A 2-year and 11-month age difference. I think that's why her dad didn't like me, because the last 3 months of that relationship, he actually liked me, invited me to some football games, have a drink in the garage, even though at that time I didn't drink because I was underage and I actually just didn't drink. And then that's when her and I kind of fell through.
Tyler, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just your personality?
Probably. Who knows? But I like being myself, and that's definitely a thing of if they don't like you for who you are, you can't please everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's because you're nice. You're very nice.
Your demeanor.
So it's like,
I think it's because you're short.
Yeah,
No,
honestly,
I
I think
I don't think it's necessarily because you're short. No.
yeah, I think
You can be
it's
short and
I think
confident.
it's just
I'm
because you're
short and
nice.
confident, but I'm also nice.
Yeah,
Because
You're
I don't
very
want to
nice.
come off as an ass right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be, but I'm also a nice person. I definitely want to earn his respect, and maybe I tried a little too hard. But anyways, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm good for that.
Bro,
Yeah.
I remember when we had that dorm meeting. You remember that?
Yeah,
first meeting?
and I showed up in a cowboy hat.
Yeah, I saw you for the first time and just this guy's a hard ass, isn't he? I thought you were a hard ass at first.
When I walked in the college, I was going through some stuff in my life, and I definitely portrayed myself as a tank instead of the Pillsbury Doughboy.
And the last thing I expected you to be was music education.
Well, yeah, that's what
Dang it,
everybody
word.
says.
I thought you were wildlife biology or some shit.
No. So
it's tough out here.
so my buddy, starts reminding me, he goes, "Remember what happened in your last relationship when the dad didn't like you? It fell through." And I'm like,
Well, that's bullshit.
Big
well,
rocks.
Cause why would your relationship fail? Cause her dad didn't like you. That
well,
doesn't
I
make
mean,
sense.
also in high school, he could flat out tell us if we could hang out or not.
Oh, true.
Right. And that's what the problem was, is he didn't like me being with her. He was always, just on my butt. And so, yeah, it was really hard. And so when this happened, my PTSD kind of kicked in. Then I got upset, and I'm just like, this is crap. Can we be mature adults here? At least look at me. Cause she's like, well, he's an introvert. I'm like, I understand that. Look at me. I can take it from here. That's all I needed. Just a look. And I got this. I got this. And so, okay. So then next day rolls around, and I tell Mom, because her and I had to drive to go to Bismarck and get some stuff. I told Mom. She goes, it just sounds more rude than anything not to even look at you. And I'm like, yeah. So it kind of piqued my anger some more. Next day, or that night, Dad and I were working outside, trimming trees. We had a water line break, so we're together. And he goes, tell me about your date. And I said, it went great up until this point. Well, even only literally that 30 seconds. And then after that, it was fine because I was still with her and we had a great time. And he goes, Tyler, you just don't care. He goes, I've met her and I like her. Like, she's not a jerk. And he goes, it doesn't matter what her dad thinks anymore. He goes, you both are in college. You're both adults. Just, if she likes you, she likes you. If you like her, you like her. And you guys can make it work. And I'm like, you know what? Thanks, Dad. I feel a lot better now. And I did. And so her and I discussed it. I apologized for overreacting a little bit. And I'm like, you still got to understand where I come from. I would have loved to make a first grade impression. But that's who I am. But I guess me and that didn't happen. It's okay. I just had to live with it's okay if that happened at first.
I kind of know what it's like to your
Thank you. I'm off the soapbox.
But I know what it's like for like parents not to accept the relationship. Like, I've had that once, and it was just like, it was very uncomfortable because it's just like, the way, like, especially Asian people are, traditional Asian people are,
Way to kill yourself.
from like India. We're talking about village India. Like, they're very traditional to their beliefs and everything. So if something changes, it throws off everything. Now they have to try to adapt, and now they have to try to, like, are their values correct, or like are their beliefs correct, or
learn, unlearn, relearn.
Yeah. And at like 50 or 60, they don't want to do that.
Nope.
So like what happened is, like, like the relationship obviously just didn't work out, and the parents are just like, yeah, makes sense.
Do you have a similar like story to where Sai is going with this? Because I know you're Nigerian, though you have like traditional strict Nigerian parents.
Actually, I don't. My parents don't really care.
Okay.
The only time I had something like that was my mom thought I was way too young to be having a girlfriend. I was like 15. She was like, "What do you need a girlfriend for at 15? Like, you have books to read.
You're a victim."
No. She was. I think she was 15 too. So it was more of, you have your life ahead of you. You have to get into college. You have to build up yourself. You really don't need girl trouble at this point in time in your life. And it was, I guess it worked out, because I mean, she's happily in a relationship right now, and she's been in one for like a long time. I think it's gonna end up like it worked out for both of us, because like, she went on to find love, and I went on.
At the end of the day, that's still memories. That's still
but then
memories.
I think the worst part of being in that kind of situation is you get haunted by a lot of what ifs. Like, every time you
very true.
Every time you see her, every time you think about her, or you just think about like your life, or you're telling people about yourself, and she kind of comes up, or that phase of your life comes up, it's like,
it feels like a trap.
Exactly. It's like, what could have been? Like, could that have been like the love of my life? Especially if eventually you run into a situation where you can't find that person. It gets you thinking, like, could that have been that person? And then it's all messed up because of parents, and it's annoying to say the least. But then it is what it is, I guess. Yeah. But I personally don't think parents should be a deciding factor in your relationship. Be it because of religion, race, caste system, whatever it is.
God, come at me. God damn.
Should that
Dude, I was like, check.
God, should that be our next poll?
What?
Should parents be a deciding factor in a relationship?
True. It could be. Because I would like to hear what
or how big of a factor should parents play, and it would do like 20, 40, 60 or something like that.
Yeah, because I get it, because
absolutely.
I'm Nigerian, and there's a Nigerian saying that what the elders see sitting down, even if a youngin climbs a tree, he might not necessarily see it. I mean, parents are, I guess they see what we can't see because they've been through what we haven't experienced yet. But at the same time, I mean, we can all attest to the fact that parents aren't really the best judge of character. They can be, but at the same time, we all have trifling family members that our parents don't seem to understand how they are trifling. But then here you are having opinions over who I can and can't date. I mean, it can be that they know these people are trifling and then they see the traits in like the person you're trying to date. But it's a gamble. It's like, do I go against my parents because I like this person and, you know, fuck what they say? But then if you're wrong, then goddamn, it's you're gonna live with that "I told you so" for a very long time because they might forgive you, but then once in a while it's like "I told you so."
So
Especially
gaslight the heck out of you. Trust me. When it comes to like strict traditional, kind of more, anyone can be gaslighted, but like, if you have those kind of parents, they will hold that against you for a long time.
you best not be wrong.
Yeah, you cannot be wrong. You can go with your gut, but if you're wrong, like they will make sure that you won't have a gut. I promise you that. But parents only know what they know and what they've experienced. So like, especially in my case, all they know is like what they experienced in India, and then what they kind of know like through work. And they kind of, if they base everything off of like what they went through, they don't really know what they're talking about when it comes to like this specific person.
Because yeah, times are changing, people are changing. I don't think people are the same. Everybody's like mindset is changing.
Yeah,
the world is changing.
Yeah.
I don't think people are the same as our parents know. Like the world isn't the same world our parents know. So for people in their age range, they probably have a better understanding. But I don't think my dad understands what 21, 22-year-old girls are thinking right now.
I
So
don't think anybody does.
I don't even know.
Fair enough.
I mean,
fair enough.
not to be honest or anything, but do
Shit.
we?
Nah, we don't.
I mean, I'm 21. You're 21.
I'm 23.
24.
I mean, nothing.
Absolutely.
And here we are. We're
Clueless.
all like,
Oh shit!
Single
It's
and kinda
April.
single.
I'm 24. My birthday was last month.
had a
Hey,
baby.
let's go.
Let's go. You know what? So you're talking along the lines of parents. What I really appreciate about my parents in my last relationship, which was also my only other relationship in high school, was they didn't like her.
Okay.
They did not like her, and my mom made that very clear.
Also, it was a mutual not liking. Her parents didn't like you, and your parents didn't like her.
Correct, but my parents never showed her that.
So why? Oh yeah, true.
Okay, so let me continue. My dad and I sat down that summer when I was still dating her, and Dad and I just building stuff in the backyard, and he goes, Tyler, I'm not a fan of her, but I see how she makes you feel. You're very happy right now. And he goes, just because I don't like her doesn't mean that you can't like her. And he goes, you are going to find out more about yourself through this than anything. He goes, I could be wrong and it might work out for you. He goes, I could also be right. Maybe it doesn't work out for you. He goes, all I'm going to say is I'm here for you no matter what, through anything that goes on in this relationship. He goes, she can still come over anytime she wants. We're still going to treat her like family.
I think that's really important that he gave you that avenue. Right?
Yeah, it's just, we don't see this working out, but we could be wrong, and we support you, and just have fun. Most importantly, have fun.
Because parents tend to want to perfect things, but as human beings, we learn through our mistakes also, right? So we learn through these experiences. So even though he could see the writing on the wall, he wasn't going to tell you exactly where he wanted you to go, because that's something that you have to accomplish yourself, for your development. You feel like you've grown a lot since that last relationship. You've learned more about yourself. You learn more of what you don't want in a relationship. You learn more of what you don't want to see in yourself. So your parents giving you that chance to experience that is really important. But I think we can spiral into another question here is like, do you think for development for each of us, do you think it's important for someone to go through heartbreak or someone to go through a rough relationship with a girl or a rough situation with a girl? Do you think that's important for building further healthy relationships?
No.
Okay.
Wait. What are we saying no to?
should a guy or a gal go through a hard or heartbreaking relationship?
Like,
So in the
is it a
future,
necessity for you to have healthy relationships in the future?
I think you should always learn from each relationship. You
Right.
should make sure that
yes,
you should. Okay, here's the thing.
yes,
You should know what the red flags are. Basic necessity.
I don't. So
Know
that's
the
my
red
issue.
flags for the next time you like
Well,
someone.
red flags vary though, because you have to understand.
No. But your red flags.
Yeah,
What
okay,
do you
yeah.
What do you not like? You know,
That's exactly why I think my answer is yes.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
essential.
I agree with that.
Yes.
Because you
It's-
gotta learn.
It's essential
Adversity.
for character development.
Yeah.
Like, cause you have to know what bad is to know what good is. You have to go
Okay.
through tough times to know that you're enjoying. I once read a quote, and I'm paraphrasing, that says, how do you know you're alive? You know you're alive when you come face to face with death.
Right.
Mhm.
How do you know you're having a good day? You know you're having a good day because you've been through a bad day. You know what a good day
Mhm.
feels like. If your life was
What a good
Always.
line.
I like that.
You're pulling it out.
Yeah, I like
Jesus.
that.
if your life is
Let's go.
always rosy, then you don't know you're having a rosy life.
I
That's
know,
why
I know a
I'll
lot
play
of people that
devil's
are
advocate
trying to
here.
avoid that.
I'll play devil's advocate here, right? Because I agree. I don't think that that you need heartbreak. And I would say this because I'll use this as an example. It's like, you don't have to stick your hand in fire to know that if you stick your hand in that fire, you're going to burn yourself, right? You can learn through experience from other people's perspectives,
Mhm.
from what you've learned from your parents, what you've learned from your siblings, what you've learned from the internet. It's like, yeah, you can see, you're like, okay, if I stick my hand in this fire, like, I know that shit's gonna burn me, and I'm gonna learn to know what that pain feels like, so that when it happens again, it hurts a little less, or I know how to avoid that, right?
Mhm.
But you can just avoid it altogether if you see other people like stick their hand in that fire, and you're like, oh shit, that motherfucker just stuck his hand in fire. Like,
I mean,
I don't want to go through that.
You
know?
can. This is an easier example. So, like, let's just say you see a mango, and let's say you watch 10,000 videos.
Time out. I'm stopping you right there.
What?
What black person eats mango?
Oh! Not again.
Is Tyler black?
I don't eat mangoes.
Okay,
Damn.
grapes.
I love grapes.
You like grapes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Guava?
That's kind
No.
of racist.
I'm like, that's
Fried
definitely
chicken?
racist. Whoa.
Fried chicken?
What
Okay.
the fuck?
I love fried chicken and grapes, but am I black?
Waffles?
No.
Well,
Okay.
I
Let's just
Okay,
stop you
okay.
there.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. what-
Continue.
Pizza. Okay, everyone likes pizza, right?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't, but go on.
Can't make everyone happy, I
I
guess.
guess.
So let's just say you see.
Where's Will?
He had a meeting.
Oh,
So let's just say you see a pizza, right?
mhm,
And then you watch like 10,000 videos on why pizza is just terrible for you, which
mhm.
it's not good for you. But you know what? And
See,
you
okay,
see,
but-
you see people like dying from eating it or some shit. But you still want to try the pizza.
I mean, but
Are you gonna avoid the pizza?
Pizza can
completely?
be enjoyable though, even if it's destroying you.
No,
honestly-
You stick your hand in the fire, that's just not gonna be
Honestly,
enjoyable.
I
ever.
think the
Only
parallels.
if you're depressed.
I think the
That's it.
analogies and the parallels are kind of off.
Okay, then can I
Okay.
add in my analogy, or you want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
We'll all have.
Okay. Fair
So
enough.
I think an analogy is, there's a Nigerian saying once again, and it's in like, Nigerians are very wise people. I swear we have a saying for everything. And there's a common Nigerian saying, and it's in broken English. It goes, "Who they use mouth drive car, no they get accidents." And it roughly translates to people that, if you say you can drive and saying you can drive and actually driving are two different things.
Very true.
You could read the manual back to front, front to back, in between the lines
Mhm.
on how to drive a car. But until you get in that seat,
You never really know what it feels
Yeah.
like.
you never really know what.
That's a
what
better example.
Muscle
so
memory.
like I feel like you could hear all the stories of bad relationships and read all the articles and see how relationships could destroy a person, and getting into the wrong relationship could ruin your life and stuff. But then if you don't experience it, you might not exactly know you're in a bad relationship until you've been in a bad relationship and gotten out of it. Because let's be honest, most people in toxic relationships don't exactly know they're in toxic relationships until somebody points it out.
Yep.
Like, you're a victim. Like,
Mhm.
you're a victim. Like, you hear girls say things like, "Oh, he just gets angry, and like I'm the only one who can calm him down." No, that's a red flag. But then if you haven't experienced that red flag, you wouldn't know it's a red flag.
Yeah.
You hear things like, you hear people say things like, girls will be in situations where you'll be like, they'll be like, I have to ask, or even guys too, be like, yo, what are you doing this weekend? Say, I gotta ask my wife, and like my wife would have like the final say. You know, it's okay to say, oh, nobody's saying like go against your spouse or like do whatever you want. Like saying, hey babe, I'm going out this weekend with the guys, and like, do you have anything planned for us? Is that okay? Is much different than saying, can I go out this weekend with my friends? That's
Make
bad
sure there's
thing.
no plans first.
Exactly.
And then if she says no, there's no plans, then okay, going out with the boys then.
But then a situation where you're being controlled,
yeah,
is a bad relationship. It's a toxic relationship. But if you've never been in that situation before,
it's harder to see.
It's harder to see.
Okay.
So that's why I feel like going through these rough times is necessary to, like, you know.
It's not just relationships, it's through anything.
Okay. So hear me out though.
Okay.
What that sounds like is just bettering yourself as a person. Now, take both my grandparents, high school sweethearts, dated since they were 16 years old. My grandma was married at 16 years old.
Hmm.
You know,
how old was your grandpa?
18, 19, but back in the day, it was fine. You know, back in the 1930s.
I mean, okay.
I guess.
my grandparents were married at like 8 and 6.
Yeah.
8 years old and 6 years old.
India.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Incredible India.
How much we progressed.
Right, but so they're still married to this day, right? 100 and happy as can be, but they never went through the traumatic, toxic relationships, if you will.
So I guess,
and they grew with each other through the thick and thin because they both cared about each other.
So what you're saying is you don't have to experience it. Like you can just
say you can. Okay, so then I think this is my answer. There's nothing wrong with going through the toxic relationship. That does build character.
but it's not necessary.
Not necessary because it is still also not wrong to meet the right person first.
Well, not everybody gets lucky like Papa and Mama Wolf.
Whoa, you're telling me
we're also in a different time.
No, right. So that's.
There are way more toxic people now.
Exactly.
Than back in 1930.
But I mean, it still happens today.
I mean,
though.
we have Bill.
No one
got him.
No one's saying it can never happen. I'm just saying it's
right.
very, 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 very scarce.
So it's right.
Yeah.
So being in a toxic relationship and learning, I think that's a big key word there, is learning from your past relationship is key. But if there isn't a toxic relationship and you do fall into a great one, which we all know is thin to none, slim to none, that also works.
Okay.
But also, like, there's people in today's society where they've fallen into a good relationship, but all of a sudden they miss like the toxicity of like a bad relationship.
That's Stockholm syndrome.
They get bored.
Yeah, they get bored.
That's Stockholm syndrome.
Okay. Explain that for the people.
Well,
like,
not exactly.
Explain it for the
It's
people.
not exactly Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome is where you get attached to your abuser.
Okay.
Oh.
So like I think
the abuse becomes a normality inside your life.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it gets to a situation where you're in an actual functional environment, and it's like it happens to me sometimes, you know, because like backstory. It's not.
You need
it's
a hug, my brother.
No, it's not about relationship. It's not about relationship. So now I moved from Nigeria.
Like for Caleb. Like everything for Caleb.
I moved from
Caleb is
Nigeria,
around.
and if you don't know, Nigeria is a West African country that is, and I hope the government doesn't get a hold of this, but it's a failed state. It's the epitome of dysfunctionality. We practice a I'm just gonna let it be. We practice a style of government where it's like the worst people are in power.
Okay.
But then I grew up in this dysfunctionality, and then I grew up seeing systems not work like they're supposed to. So once in a while I'm here, I tend to miss that chaos.
The
'Cause-
dysfunction.
Because I got used to the madness and the chaos.
You got comfortable.
Exactly.
You
So
figured out how to function within the dysfunction.
exactly. So once in a while, I don't know. For like my first month, I was in the US. I would turn on a light switch and half expect no light. So every time I turned on the light switch and there was light, it was like, whoa, damn. So exactly, I think it's the same way with people in relationships. You meet somebody that's caring, someone that loves you, someone that listens to you, someone that communicates, and you don't exactly know how to handle this new environment. You're used to being bullied. You're used to being overrun. You're used to being trampled upon. Your emotions don't count. So like it's easy for you to also, get comfortable in the dysfunction and then not know how to. I'm sorry, I forgot how we got here. How did we get here?
Well,
Because
the Stockholm syndrome.
Oh yeah. So like exactly. I feel like that's Stockholm syndrome, where you see people get too comfortable in the
dysfunction.
So you think when a person who has this dysfunction, right? When they find a new person, do you think it's wrong of this new person, like if they start seeing signs of going back to like their abuser or going back to the tendencies that were present in their abusive relationship, if they start bringing some of those aspects into this new relationship, do you think it's wrong for that new person to leave?
No.
Okay.
Hell no. Like life is about you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to protect yourself.
You have to be as selfish as you can for yourself.
Exactly.
Always
So
think about
if you
yourself.
see, like if you get into a relationship with someone who's broken and who genuinely wants to get fixed, and you could help the person get fixed, then by all means go for it.
And it's hard to know when someone wants to be fixed.
Yeah, I know. Because like especially in the last relationship, it's like I think I just cared about her so much to the point where I kind of like lost it for myself.
Yep.
I wasn't putting myself as a priority. I put her as a priority than myself as a priority. So basically when she had depression and all that stuff, then I got really depressed and all that stuff. So like when I finally, I shouldn't say finally, but when I got out of it, there was this kind of like relief, like the sun just looked better. Or like, I don't know why, but
the
like
colors got more defined.
I can see clear.
Yeah. Like everything just like looked better. So like once you get out of that kind of mindset, you have to be selfish and you have to, face other challenges.
But not everyone has that realization, because some people are like, damn.
No, but we have to
really
educate
this person.
people.
Fair enough. Okay.
To where like they should go through all these challenges so they could be a new improved version of themselves. Right?
In your quest to pull people up, be sure not to be pulled down.
Yeah.
Because if you get pulled into that, then nobody's really helping anybody. So I think it's easy to know, because like if you're trying to help somebody move past and the person keeps going back. Personally, I've been in a relationship where communication was a premium. It'd be like, what's wrong? Nothing. But then it's obviously not nothing, because you're not talking to me. You're not like you're in the mood and you're damping like the mood in the entire room, but you're saying it's nothing. But then I tried. I honestly tried to help her learn how to communicate her feelings.
Yeah.
But then if you see somebody actively not try to, like, it's like you meet somebody who isn't used to like talking about their feelings, and then you ask and you probe, and then say first time you meet, it takes you an hour to get her to talk. Then 2-3 months in, it takes you 30 minutes. And then 2-3 months later, it takes you 5 minutes. You see, that's progress. But then if it takes you an hour, and then 2 months later, it takes you an hour, and then 2 months later, it takes you 2 hours, then at that point in time, you gotta get out, because it's easy to be toxic.
Also like you can't help someone if they can't help themselves.
Well, okay, and when Sai and I first met years ago, and even when we moved in with each other, Sai, and I'll never forget you telling me this, because it was one thing that really opened my eyes, and I really enjoyed it. Sai got some good stuff to say every once in a while. But you
I'm
told
honest.
me, and when I was going through just talking with girls and them falling through and just not working out, you always told me you want a relationship in which you can both lift each other up and help improve each other as human beings.
I'll side with the bars.
And I'll never forget that. Just because in my last relationship, it's not as if she was pulling me down, but I was staying at a stalemate and I was just lifting her.
I was just being pulled down.
And where you're talking about is there is no pushing or pulling. There's no pulling, but you're just both lifting each other up, wanting each other to be better human beings, helping each other out. You script. And there's going to be days where one person in the relationship is going to have to pull through on the bad days the other.
It can take like a month. There could be a month of that.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
You just have to be there, and you have to.
It could be
supportive.
months.
Yeah.
It
could be a long time, but you have to pull through.
You got to make sure you see the signs of promise, or
if they're working on. Okay, here's the thing: if
they're truly trying.
If let's just say, like, for example, if they're like depressed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't be the person to help you, then you need to go to like a therapist or a counselor or talk to someone that's an adult that really knows how to talk to you.
But if they do that, do you leave them?
But if they if they do that, you don't leave them because they're actively trying to be better.
And you just fully support them.
Yeah, you fully support them.
That's okay.
And then you ask them, how was therapy or whatever.
Absolutely.
Like you try to be there for them. But if they're not doing that and they're venting everything and they say the script over and over and over again, and you're investing so much time in them, and nothing's getting better. Then
so what you're basically saying is that if they continue to play the victim,
then
it's time for you to walk away.
It's
that's the biggest red flag.
This is my personal opinion, but you're wasting your time. You yourself are wasting your time.
Yeah,
they're wasting your time too. So and like I said, you have to be selfish for yourself, especially in this world that we're living in. It's not a pretty world that we're living in right now. You have to do whatever you can.
Survive.
Not to survive, but in this country to thrive. So if your goals are high, then you need to get out and you have to go after that. Right?
Yeah.
So you can't have people pulling you down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of red flags, what's
Hitting a deep subject here, boys.
No. It's on a lighter note. Let's lighten it up.
Yeah.
20 seconds later, we're all
Marvin's room.
Fuck that.
Jesus, take the wheel.
All right. Speaking of red flags, what's the most? Okay, we're gonna do it this way. You're gonna say one actual red flag you think people should look out for in a relationship, and then you're gonna say one random red flag.
Your name starts with
exactly.
We know.
Exactly. So we're gonna go around, and then you're gonna say one actual red flag that people should look out for in a relationship, and then you're gonna say one random red flag that just pertains to just you. So
I don't know if they beat you.
First.
If they beat you, probably a red flag.
that's not a red flag.
Yeah, it is.
That's a red light. Because at that point it's past the flag. You're running the red light. I'm talking about red flags, things that precursors to the actual toxic.
To avoid that scenario.
Caleb,
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, in my last relationship, I came home and my entire bicep was black and blue.
Well, when we get to where you are, you can explain it further.
All right, so Sai, one actual red flag and then one random red flag.
I would say if their communication is not good, they're very scattered in their communication. At times, if they I know we live in this world that we live in where texting or snapping or Facebook messaging or Instagram messaging or whatever.
Yahoo chat.
Whatever. If they're very bad at it, no offense, but communication is kind of important.
Yep.
Not kind of, but very important in a relationship. So if you're not really good at communicating properly, then that's a huge red flag, and it's kind of wasting my time. And what was the second one? The
Random.
A random one.
Random
Could
red
be
flag.
dumb, but
oh
Doesn't have to make sense.
if you have a snake tattoo, yeah, that's a definite red flag.
Okay, so for me, I'd say a big red flag is how toxic her friends are, right?
Ooh.
Because if her friends, if you're feeding, like if you see her feeding off that energy of her friends, you know, downing a guy or oh, I'm gonna do this to someone, or I'm gonna do that to someone, or they did this to me, so I'm going to in turns hurt them this way. If you see her friends doing shit like that, and you know she still surrounds herself with those people, it's time to go. It's time to fucking vacate the premises, because at that point your life is in for some fucking chaos.
Okay.
Now a random one. Oh boy. Let's see. Ooh. Damn, this is tough.
She doesn't like black people.
honestly.
I think that's self-explanatory. Oh shit, you go for Tyler. I don't know.
So my red flag is something we've already said here tonight. If she doesn't want to improve herself,
Mm-hmm.
because as a human being, you're always going to grow and change. And if said person does not want to change, or not that they have to change, but the accepting of change, or just always thinking, I can always better myself. But if they think they're at the top, they've hit their peak, we all know that's not true.
Okay.
There's always potential through everything. And coming from a musician, we all say that as musicians. Like you can think you're good, but you're never there,
Okay.
if you will. Now my random one, and this is just again because I'm a musician. If you play saxophone, run.
Damn.
I have not had good luck.
And she has acrylic nails longer than 1 inch. Abort.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Abort.
Ooh.
Okay.
Abort.
So my actual red flag is, well, now I gotta think, because they said all the good ones.
We have indeed said some good ones.
He said hive mentality. You said
That's a communication.
communication. You said
Not wanting to improve.
not wanting to improve. Okay.
Self-improvement.
So
Self-improvement.
Snake tattoo. I'm telling you.
Oh,
I think my actual red
For me.
flag would be if she's entitled.
Okay.
Ooh.
Tell me about that.
Entitled.
spoiled even.
7-figure job.
Spoiling comes from being entitled.
Yeah.
If she feels entitled to your money,
Oh,
entitled to your time,
Mm.
it's a red flag, because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I know we're in a relationship, but then, or we're trying to get into a relationship, but then my time is my time, and I'm supposed to get my time. Whatever I want to do with that time is up to me. I could decide to use my time on you, but then it's my time. You shouldn't have plans. She shouldn't make plans that, like, you know, supersede your time. So you should be able to say, it should be, oh, can we do this instead of we're doing this? And then my random red flag is if she's invested in celebrity relationships.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
And also if she knows any celebrity's birthday off the top of her head, it's a red flag.
Okay.
It's a red flag.
I know one celebrity's birthday by heart, and that's Justin Bieber's, just because his birthday's the same day as one of my friends, and he's made that joke.
See, now
Well,
you
and
have
it's
you
just
have a
stuck in my
reason to
head.
know that.
well,
If you're just talking, if they
Okay,
randomly out of the
what about-
freaking blue
I know
it,
J. Cole's birthday.
I know Michael Jackson's birthday.
well, that's a good birthday to know,
Red flag.
though.
Ladies, red flags everywhere.
I am a red flag. Trust me.
I
I'm
wouldn't
walking
deny
at a
it.
stop sign. What you mean?
I lost electricity to my red light
Damn.
because it was on all the time.
Damn.
That's
I'm,
tough.
I'm kidding.
Oof.
I'm
Damn, that got
actually
rough.
joking. But that's,
That got a
It
little
was
sad, Tyler. We were joking, man.
who hurt you? No, I'm good. I was also
I'm
kidding.
fine.
It was funny. Oh no.
I'm
Red
fine.
flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Also,
I'm
if
fine.
she says I'm fine,
But that okay.
we all
That
know.
can go a part of your communication.
Yeah,
not
is.
wanting
It
to
is.
communicate problems. Trust the other person. One, if you're trying to get into a relationship with the person and they don't trust you with just at least hearing out your problems, probably
these are
not
all
going to work.
valid.
Also, like if you expect a person to mind read your thoughts,
Screwed.
That's all communication.
that
It
is part
is
of communication.
the-
But like we have there's a lot of subcategories of
A
communication.
lot of specifications.
Like it's
especially-
communication is very important, is what we're all trying to say.
Probably the one thing that probably ended my last relationship was communication. The fine thing happened all the time to me.
I did a couple of those.
I did it the other night, and I will admit to it. She asked me, "Are you okay?" And this was after the dad thing, and I said, "I'm fine," because I didn't want to ruin the mood. And I felt like in my last relationship, I did tell her everything. Why? I trusted her. And I felt like that's what ruined it. And then after she goes, "You're not fine," and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not fine. I'm going to be honest with you. This is why I'm upset. And then afterwards, I'm like, holy crap, she just saw a horrible side of me.
Well,
But then we got to talking and I said, you know what? If anything is going to come from this, you're going to have to see every side of each other. And, well, I guess you just saw one of my sides. Like, it may not have been the prettiest, but at least you're getting to know me.
I think for next time, what I do in that situation is, what's wrong? I'm not ready to talk about it yet. I will eventually tell you,
give me a night
Oh.
to think about it.
but then
I like that.
you know,
Because then you
Let me
can say,
sleep on
I do
it.
not want to act upon emotions, which is
yes,
what I always say, which is if you have to take a good 24 hours to let it digest and for you just to take a good
put it
deep
in
breath.
the right words.
See, now where I
Correct.
differ is like, because I try to do that, right? But I don't verbalize that. I don't say like, oh, like, give me some time to think about it. I'm just like, just let me be. And then they keep pushing me, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
Well, just
But if
just
the
let me.
person,
I'm like, if you want to get it, you want to get it.
but if that person cannot respect that you need to breathe and not act upon emotions, because I know who you're talking about,
I
they
don't.
act up.
Keep going, keep going.
If
I
they,
don't know.
and that's fine. But what I'm going to say, and you're not going to like these people, they act upon emotions. They like to act upon emotions. Why? Because it causes more drama. Lumel, trying to be a mature person here, says, I want to take a deep breath. I'm okay for now. I would like to discuss it maybe later. And they're like, no, keep poking the bear.
Okay, shade room.
You poke the bear, bro.
okay.
You're gonna get
Yeah.
Okay.
you're gonna get cut.
So, I mean,
So
what we're still saying is if a person tries to poke the bear,
It's a
there's
red flag.
bingo.
That's not even a red flag. That's just like you want
Run.
the smoke, you'll get the smoke.
Well, right.
you're
and-
gonna get it. If you want it, you can get it.
Right.
It's
But
not a-
those people are immature to understand that it is a mature thing to take a deep breath, not act upon emotions. I tell a buddy of mine that all the time. He's going through some problems with his ex. She told him, don't ever talk to me again. And then also out of the blue, she texted him. And so he calls me absolutely in tears because he had great feelings for this gal. And he calls me crying and he goes, Tyler, I don't know what to do. I said, okay, buddy, you need to do me a favor. And he goes, what's that? I said, wait 24 hours. Even wait 12 hours. Do not act upon the emotions that you are feeling.
We've had some good discussions this podcast. Our poll question for this week is, how much of a factor should parents play in their child's relationships? And that's it. So this concludes another episode of the Next Question Please podcast. I'm Midas Mill.
I'm Wolfie.
I'm sorry.
And I'm the Nigerian prince.
And William P. was here, but he is now gone.
Oh yeah, make sure to like and subscribe
Oh,
to this channel.
We're
Please.
going to put our...
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah. Hit the plus.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Boom.
Good job, boy.